Team Australia is all ready to go for the 2023 World Baseball Classic. What do we know about Australian baseball? We know that they've got a good organized winter league, not the strongest but not the weakest either. They've always got a presence in Major League Baseball. Never a large presence, but always one or two Aussies in MLB, like there is now. And they've participated in all 4 WBCs, but have yet to reach the second round. In the first WBC in 2006, Australia went 0-3, shut out by Italy and Venezuela, and finally a respectable 2-run loss to the Dominican Republic. In 2009, they surprised everyone with a 10-run mercy rule win over Mexico in the first game of the opening round, lost by 1 run to Cuba. Then, in a rematch with Mexico, were blown out 16-1 in a 6-inning mercy game, ending their tournament. In 2013, they were 0-3 in the opening round, falling to Taiwan, Korea, and the Netherlands. No mercy rule, but in those 3 games they only scored a total of 2 runs. So for the next WBC in 2017, they had to qualify. But holding the qualifiers at home in Sydney, they had no problem. With a mercy rule win over the Philippines and a pair of wins over South Africa, they got themselves back into the tournament. At the main tournament, they put up a good fight, losing to Japan by only 3 runs, hammering China 11-0, and then once again losing to Cuba by just 1 run, and again got sent home after the first round. At the 2019 Premier 12, they were in a 3-way tie with Canada and Cuba for second in the group stage behind Korea. Australia won the tiebreaker and moved on to the Super Round. In that round, they lost to eventual champion Japan by only 1 run, beat the USA team. But that would be their only win. After going 1-4, they were finished. They were supposed to compete in the final qualifier for the Olympics 2 years ago, but because of COVID restrictions, the travel would have been too difficult, and they withdrew from the competition. They'll be playing in Pool B at Tokyo Dome with Japan, Korea, China, and the Czech Republic. While there's always the potential for an upset, Australia is seen as being way behind Japan and Korea, well ahead of China and the Czech Republic. Anything other than a 3rd-place finish would be a huge surprise. 2 big names missing from the roster. The biggest one is White Sox closer Liam Hendriks. He wanted to play but revealed this offseason that he was diagnosed with cancer. He'll be out for a while and will not play in the WBC. The other one is Curtis Mead, the number 2 prospect in the Tampa Bay Rays system. He suffered an elbow injury last season and said he would like to focus on earning a roster spot this spring. With Hendriks out, there are no active Major League players on their pitching staff. One player with plenty of professional experience, though, is Warwick Saupold. He was an MLB reliever for the Detroit Tigers from 2016 to 2018. He then was a starting pitcher in the KBO in 2019 and 2020. This is important because Australia's first opponent in Pool B is Korea, and that is seen as a must-win if Australia wants to advance. With his experience against Korean hitters, he will likely be the starting pitcher for that game, but his most recent work on the mound didn't go well. This winter in the Australian League, he posted a 5.56 ERA in 43 2/3 innings. Tim Atherton reached AAA in the Oakland A's system back in 2014. These days, he only plays in the Australian League. This winter, he had a 3.27 ERA in 9 starts, 52 1/3 innings, WHIP 11.27. 24-year-old Kyle Glogowski, now with the Cincinnati Reds. Last year at high single-A Jersey Shore of the Phillies organization, he struck out 75 batters in 65 innings, 12 starts, 4 relief appearances, ERA 2.77, WHIP 11.69. He reached the AAA level in 2021, but only made 1 appearance. 21-year-old lefty Blake Townsend is a Mariners prospect. In 2022, he played in low and high single-A, AAA, and the Rookie League. Most of the season was spent in low single-A Modesto, where he struck out 20 batters in 19 innings of relief, with an ERA of 4.74. 22-year-old lefty Jack O'Loughlin played at high single-A West Michigan of the Detroit Tigers organization. 6 starts and 21 relief appearances, 51 innings, ERA 4.01, WHIP 13.55. Steve Kent, a lefty and one-time AAA Atlanta Braves prospect, now in the ABL. This season he made 4 starts and 9 relief appearances, totaling 34 2/3 innings, with 39 strikeouts, ERA 4.41, WHIP 13.27. Daniel McGrath, a left-handed pitcher who reached AAA for the Red Sox in 2019. This season in the ABL, 4 starts, 8 relief appearances, 25 2/3 innings, ERA 4.56, WHIP 13.64. Sam Holland, previously a Padres and Angels prospect. In the minors, he was only used as a reliever. Now in the ABL, he's used equally as a starter and reliever. 42 innings this season, ERA 2.14, WHIP 10.71. Josh Geyer is strictly an ABL player, and his winter didn't go so well. 10 starts, 53 innings, ERA 5.09, WHIP 15.85. 24-year-old Dodgers prospect Liam DOOLAN played in college last year at Tennessee Wesleyan. Hasn't actually played in the Dodger system yet. He had a .215 ERA and .883 WHIP in 54 innings of relief. This winter in the ABL, he threw 6 2/3 scoreless innings in 4 relief appearances. 25-year-old Mitch Neuenborn has only pitched in the ABL. This season, in 13 games, he struck out 40 batters in 28 innings of relief. ERA .225, WHIP .1143. 28-year-old lefty John Kennedy, a Braves prospect up until 2019. This winter in the ABL, 13 games, 17 2/3 innings, ERA .255, WHIP .1245. Todd Van Steensel, a former Twins prospect, also played in the Mexican and Venezuelan leagues in the last couple years. This season in Australia, his ERA was .424 in 16 relief appearances, 17 innings, 18 strikeouts, WHIP .1588. 20-year-old lefty Will Sheriff, in his 3rd ABL season, appeared 9 times, 13 innings, ERA .346, WHIP .1231. Luke Wilkins, a 12-year ABL veteran, threw 27 2/3 innings, mostly in relief, averaged about 1 strikeout per inning, ERA .423, WHIP .1265. Soppold and Atherton will be their top 2 choices for starting pitchers. After that, they've got quite a few pitchers that have been mixing it up between starting and relieving. Not sure who they'll go with, but the rotation's probably not going to look too impressive. The bullpen's got some young prospects from the minor leagues that could really shine in this tournament and put their name out there, but it'll take about half a dozen relievers to shut down a team's hitting in the WBC. They'll need to hit the ball and score some runs to take the pressure off the pitchers. Aaron Whitefield is the lone member of Team Australia that appeared at the Major League level last season, and it wasn't much more than an appearance. He went 0 for 11, striking out 5 times. He spent most of the season at AA Rocket City, where he slashed .263, .343, .492, with 9 home runs and 29 steals in 79 games. He plays all 3 outfield positions almost equally. Tim Kennelly is a former AAA Phillies prospect, though that was over a decade ago. Now plays only in the ABL. This past season he hit .282, .404, .508, with 6 home runs in 35 games. Almost always plays in center, occasionally plays all the infield positions. 24-year-old Ulrich Boyarsky is a Tigers prospect. Last year he played in 1 game at AA Erie. Most of the summer he was at High Single A West Michigan, where he hit .170, .255, .426. Not a good average, but he's got some power. 7 home runs in 33 games. In the ABL over the winter he hit .352, .404, .628. 8 home runs in 38 games. He usually plays in left. 24-year-old left-handed hitter Jordan McArdle. He hit 9 home runs in 37 ABL games and hit .256, .331, .504. Plays mostly in right field. Andrew Campbell, a left-handed hitter who's played for the same ABL team the last 12 years. Last season was not a good one though. He played in 30 games, hit .133, .214, .267. He usually played in center in past seasons, but last season played mostly in left. In the infield, Robbie Glendinning is a Kansas City Royals prospect coming off his best season ever. At AA Northwest Arkansas, he slashed .252, .373, .439, with 19 home runs and 11 steals in 118 games. He can play at any infield position. 22-year-old Padres prospect Jared Dale reached AAA El Paso last summer, where he played in 10 games, slashed .222, .333, .296. He mostly plays at short, but can also play at second, third, and in left field. Rickson Wingrove is a 22-year-old left-handed hitter in the Phillies system. Last year at High Single A Jersey Shore, his line was .251, .349, .466, 12 home runs in 67 games. He almost always plays at first base. Liam Spence, a 24-year-old Cubs prospect, played in 41 games at Single A Myrtle Beach last summer, slashing .208, .333, .308. Plays all infield and outfield positions. Played mostly at first in the minors, mostly at third in the ABL. Jake Bowie, a left-handed hitter from the ABL. Last season, 37 games, 8 home runs. Line of .291, .357, .543. Played mostly at first, with a few games at catcher. Darryl George played at first and third in the ABL this year. Also played at short in past seasons. He hit .247, .286, .494. 5 homers in 23 games. Logan Wade, a switch-hitting shortstop, played in 30 ABL games, with a line of .259, .323, .375. At catcher, they've got Alex Hall, a 23-year-old switch-hitting Brewers prospect. He reached High Single A but struggled at the plate. In 30 games, he hit .181, .278, .277. But he had a great winter in the ABL, with a line of .360, .440, .626, 8 home runs in 38 games. Another catcher, Robbie Perkins, a former Rockies prospect. In 34 ABL games, he hit .240, .286, .364. Ryan Battaglia also plays behind the plate, but this winter he only played in 7 ABL games, going 1 out of 16 at the plate, and he hasn't played anywhere else in the last couple years. They can build a lineup almost completely from active minor league players, and some of the ABL players might be even better, so the hitting looks alright, stronger than the pitching. Will it be enough to get them into the top 2 of Pool B? There's a chance, but probably not. They'll be targeting their first game against Korea as the most important game on their schedule. Win that and beat China and the Czech Republic like they're supposed to, and they're in. If Korea was looking past their first game, Team Australia might be able to catch them off guard and pull off an upset. But Korea is going to be focused on that first game, putting their best starting pitcher on the mound. It's unlikely Australia can pull it off. The Australian players are mostly from the low levels of the minors or ex-minor league players. The Korean team has a few active major league players and the best of the KBO, which is considered somewhere between AA and AAA. And this is a team of KBO All-Stars, so the players' level is AAA or major league level. But they are going to try to beat them. Saupold will be a good choice for a starting pitcher. Plenty of young prospects in the bullpen and on the field. If several of them step up and use this tournament to really break themselves out, then an upset is possible. Team Australia is expected to finish 3rd. Any less than that will be a major disappointment. Any better than that, it'll be their best WBC ever. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.